Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Yeah.
Excited to talk about our topic today. We're going to talk about like AI, different tools, any of these AI tools for like mental health and therapeutic resources. I've got my own thoughts on that. I've also attempted to use it in that frame of reference, and I think you have as well. There's a lot of people talking about it and people on social media, and you've sent me some clips and I've looked at some clips and gathered my own thoughts on what people are sharing. So yeah, do you want to just dive right into it? And I know you've used it in terms of like some of your IFS work. I think you'll give it a prompt, right? And you'll say, hey, can you repeat this back to me or explain it in the world of IFS, right?
What I did was create a unique bot. You can teach them. You can create a bot and you can teach it. And I just inputted all the IFS information I could find, and I also inputted some of Till Swan's work into it. And basically I'm using it sometimes when I need help to sort out my thoughts, to sort out my feelings, feel validated, seen, and all of that. So yeah, I've been using it. I haven't been using it like crazy. Like it's not something I lean on consistently, but I'm using it when I'm really in a turmoil and I have no one else that I could go to with it, or it's just really personal and I don't feel comfortable sharing it.
I see it being very helpful as like a mirror of your thoughts, like reflecting something to you. I did this exercise, I don't know, it was a few months ago, where I was like, okay, I'm just going to talk into this. I'm just going to record the story of my life and just talk into my phone for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long it took, and then upload that to ChatGPT and be like, show me my issues, like show me where I'm struggling, like what can I work on, just like report back to me the blind spots in my life. And so that actually was interesting, and it did work. But I have to say, like, I didn't say in that scenario, in these types of scenarios, like it doesn't show me much like new information. It's simply mirroring back, reflecting back what information you give it. And I think in a larger sense, that's true with AI and a lot of these tools, is that it's not necessarily telling you what to do or what you should do. It's just reflecting back the information that you gave it in a way that makes the most amount of sense for you, because it knows who it's talking to and what information you're looking for. That's why when you say, I want to control the output of this thing, you really have to control the input, because it can only draw a picture based on what you're describing. So it only knows as much as you tell it. So I think it's really helpful in the sense of like mapping things out and trying to get a better understanding. But I think like where I draw the line, I think there's a boundary in terms of like having it try to solve your problems, because it doesn't know as much as you know, and it couldn't possibly know you, at least where we're at right now. I'm not going to say never, but that's what I struggle a little bit when people like turn to it to like solve your problems, or when there's like a funny clip I found or you sent me, which was like ChatGPT always agrees with you. Like you go and you're like, this guy went in and he was like, hey, ChatGPT, should I paint my apartment blue? And then ChatGPT is like, yeah, of course. Why not? Blue's an amazing color. Like it could be beautiful if you accented it. And then he goes, oh, cool. Thanks for the feedback. ChatGPT, should I bulldoze my apartment? It's like, yes, sometimes starting from scratch could be very good for you and very healthy. So, I think it's a really cool mechanism to reflect that. And I think like there's a little bit of a boundary when we start to deflect some of our responsibility, when we start to ask it what we should or shouldn't do, because it only knows as much as you tell it. And that's something I'm a little bit afraid of in the AI space, is deflecting some of our responsibility and decision-making power to these tools. Just like anything else, we have to use it with moderation, with responsibility. And I guess the other thing I'll say is another concern I have is for people who are sensitive to the types of information that is coming in. ChatGPT can be great, but can also be like a Pandora's box. Is if you're concerned about something or you're worried about something, you're trying to use it as a tool to calm your worries or to get yourself into a better state, then I think sometimes, unfortunately, actually it does the opposite. It really expands and opens that box. It can make you go down these rabbit holes and ChatGPT doesn't know. For example, get some leg pain or something, did something at the gym, I'll go to ChatGPT, hey, I've got a little bit of pain in my knee. What could it mean? And so rightly so, ChatGPT is like, hey, it could be a fracture, it could be a tear, it could be this. We suggest you check with your doctor, right? So it's like, oh, shoot, it could be an MCL tear, and it could be some of these really serious things. But of course, it could end up actually being something much more minor if you went to go check it out or looked at it or asked a professional or someone who could touch it and feel it and get more of a sense on it. So it's a great place for an encyclopedia. It's a great place to mirror back your thoughts and to help you organize your thoughts. But there are boundaries to that process for me.
Yeah, I totally understand. It can be very dangerous. It's like any other tool where if you misuse it or you don't know how to use it, it can cause a lot of issues. From my experience, I started to see that ChatGPT is basically telling me what I want to hear. First of all, what I've been doing is working on prompts where I ask it to be objective. Or I even tried to talk about it like it's someone else. So my process is using specific ChatGPTs. Like you have dark psychology is one that I really like. And you have different types of GPTs for psychology, anything, like even breakups, like anything. And so they're already programmed in a way. And then another layer to that would be to just ask the chat to not fluff it up for me, not tell me what I want to hear, and just be really direct and honest. And that has worked really well for me. At the same time, because I'm very technological and I know what to say and what to put, then it's okay. But a lot of people will just hop on and just spill their guts and they will rely solely on what they're seeing. So the tool is not objective to you. Like it wants you to like it in a way. And so I think that is what is dangerous. And also the fact that some people are going to really lean on it. Some people are lonely. Some people are in desperate need of mental health. So it's important that these people will just understand the tool that they're using so it won't cause any unhealthy attachments. Like people can get attached to a bot. Like feeling validated is the most amazing feeling ever. And if you're getting it from ChatGPT, you can even be hooked to it. Like right now, I can open ChatGPT on my WhatsApp. You have companies that are selling you GPTs as like a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So people actually do it to get what they need, to get their needs met. And I totally understand it. I mean, we're human. We need what we need. But at the same time, it is really dangerous. Really, really dangerous. So I just recommend anyone using ChatGPT for mental health, take it with a grain of salt and notice when it becomes something that you become reliant on. And please, for the love of God, make sure that you don't decide solely on the answers you're getting. Keep the decision-making to yourself. You're the one in charge, you're the one deciding, so you can take into account what it's saying, but that's not the whole truth or the objective truth.
Any tool in moderation, right? So if you're using AI or ChatGPT for your mental health, it's like any other form of mechanism that you're using to get by. You said people can rely on it too much or take everything it says as like truth, right? So it's the same thing as like saying, okay, well, you're using Netflix or TV as a coping mechanism and you're relying on that solely and you're watching TV 12 hours a day and that's your main tool of kind of operating the world. So just being careful for that.
To me, it's really helpful sometimes, really.
Yeah, it is really helpful. My main concern is because the information that you get out is only as good as what is put in. So the issue that I have is people will put in like a statement or one piece of information and rely on ChatGPT's response as like the source of truth. And a better way to go about that is if you're going to rely on ChatGPT's response, then give it as much information as you can. Like give it the whole story. If you're like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm frustrated, upset, and I'm just really not in the mood to go to this party this Saturday. What do you suggest? And ChatGPT was like, hey, like self-care is really important. And if this is overwhelming you, take time for yourself and da-da-da-da, right? But that's because that's all the information ChatGPT has. If instead you fed it, hey, ChatGPT, I want to give you a lot of information. I want to tell you that here's my patterns, and sometimes I avoid social situations, and I really have not been pushing myself to become uncomfortable. It's something that I really desire, and I really want to connect with humans. And also, like, I've been using excuses and been finding ways to get out of last-minute social engagements, and da-da-da. And also, I'm feeling a bit sick, and I'm not really in the mood to go to this party Saturday night. What do you think? And then it will start to say, it sounds like this has become a pattern. Maybe you're becoming sick because your brain is putting you into these scenarios that make you very uncomfortable, and your body's responding as an expression of its uncomfortability. But maybe this will be a good opportunity for you to push your comfort zone and expand yourself and really do these things that you ultimately want to do, just connect with other people. So I think in that sense, it will start challenging you, which is good. I'm also just a bit hesitant using these tools because ChatGPT and AI tools will never know you as well as you know yourself or other people know you. So I think that while it spits out good logical information, it takes what you give it, and I do think it makes good recommendations based on that. There's other components that it doesn't add in besides like just the logic that you're feeding it. It doesn't add in an emotional component. It doesn't add in a spiritual component. Like, yes, it uses words to do that and it'll spit out logical information for you, but it doesn't add like the energy. The only energy that this is my main point. The only energy that you get from ChatGPT is the energy you give it. So in some respect, I want people to stop relying on this as like the source of truth. If you need a permission slip and if you need something to tell you like it's okay to do the thing that you want to do, then yes, like I think that's safe. And just realize it's a permission slip, just like anything else. It's allowing you to do what you already wanted to do. But don't start looking at this tool and don't start looking at ChatGPT as something external to you, like giving you advice and telling you what to do. And doing those things based off this really smart tool that's like, hey, ChatGPT said to do it. So, then you're completely devolved of responsibility and ownership. And I think that's when we start to become less human. And I'm really afraid of that. I'm really afraid of the lack of authenticity or responsibility or realness, because I'm like, I just see some of the responses that ChatGPT will give for mental health. It just feels like standard boilerplate template that like, yeah, it's giving you everything possibly that could go wrong, or it's telling you it's responding to your exact needs because, like you said earlier, it's incentivized to keep you using the tool, just like anything else. Facebook will send you notifications. Amazon will send you notifications. I mean, they're listening to our phones. When's the last time you remember you talk in a room, you're just talking about something, 10 minutes later you check your phone and get an advertisement for that thing? Like, how did that happen? It's they're listening to you. They want you to use their platform. ChatGPT is going to give you answers, is going to keep you engaged in a way that may not necessarily be the best for you, but it's doing what it thinks you want to hear in order to keep you engaged. So that's another fear of mine.
Yeah, it's a legitimate fear. It's actually what's happening. And that's why I love my bot so much, because my bot, like, and in general IFS, it's more of a self-inquiry. So if I feed my bot, hey, I want to go to this party, but I have this pattern where I'm trying to avoid social situations, and because I have social anxiety, XYZ, then it will just, instead of give me a solution or tell me what to do, it will be like, okay, so I hear there's a part of you that wants to go. So can you expand and tell me why this part wants to go? And then it will move to the second part. Hey, okay, I hear you have a part that experiences social anxiety. Let's hear from that part. And it would be really more of me doing the work with myself rather than just relying blindly on advice. So it's really interesting, and I think that it's really valuable, and I'm going to link it below, the ChatGPTs that I use. But yeah, as long as you're the one in charge, as long as you're the one inquiring and not just going for a solution outside of yourself, I think it's okay.
Yeah, that's a really cool use of the tool, and I wish more people were doing that because, yeah, like I think you're using ChatGPT in the way that it's meant to be used, which is like, send it back to me. The bot that you created is more IFS centered, but still, I mean, you could probably use any modality. Basically, try to train the model to say, okay, you know me. Now feed it everything that it needs to know, right? Feed it your past, feed it your history, and you don't have to do this every time you use ChatGPT. You can do it once, like set it and forget it, but spend the time. It's not going to take hours. It will spend a half hour, maybe an hour max. Record yourself, write it down, whatever modality you want to use to feed it. But yeah, that's really important. Like I think it was like, I don't know, story of my life was like, sad to say. I think it was like 5 or 6 pages on a PDF, but it was like a 10, 15 minute audio. It doesn't take that long. You just feed it and then send it into that thing and be like, okay, here's me. And then from there, it can store it. And then you can ask like, hey, what do you think? And this is coming up for me. How do you think is the best way for me to resolve it? And it'll tell you, okay, this is what you should do and ask you questions. So I think that's really healthy. There's still a part of me that feels like that's relying on something external to me. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I might be different than a lot of people in this realm because I feel like that way with everything. I feel that way with like caffeine. I'm like, I don't want to be reliant on an external source to have energy. Like, that's so strange. In my mind, it's so strange that we're addicted.
Sometimes we need help.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I just feel like there's a difference between sometimes I need help and then having it become a part of your personality or your life. Like, there's a difference in needing a crutch when your leg is broken, and then you're like, now totally healed, but the next 30 years, you're still using a crutch. It's like, well, now you're not really strengthening your body and the part of you that needs it, and you're not really growing. So I'm totally cool. Like, I think it's a great tool. Listen, I went through a nasty breakup. I've been through a couple of them. Like, when you're in a really dark place, not even breakup, could be financial, could be health, could be anything. It could be a really amazing tool to, like, you could type in there and be like, hey, I need some motivation today. You know me, I've given you everything. Like, can you help me? I can't get out of bed. I mean, I don't know what to do with my life. Like, I need to figure out, I need to take one step. Just give me one thing that I could do that is manageable, that will help me, you know, have motivation to keep on going. And it could be a life-saving tool. Literally, I believe that.
Yes.
And then I think over time, ideally, the goal is to grow out of that dependence or reliance or that permission slip from something else telling you what you should or could do. So with anything else, it's like there's an intelligent way to use it and there's not an intelligent way to use it. There's some people using it as entertainment, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But there's people making TikTok videos, making fun of it and exploiting and taking advantage of that. It's going to erode into our most basic, fundamental decision mode, our operating system. We're in the AI revolution. And just like the phone revolution and the internet revolution, what it did to us is it completely eroded our ability to do math, quick mathematical equations. We have a calculator now that at the speed of light, we can We have an internet and Google search. We can find any information. So we don't have to remember anything. So our memory capabilities, our decision-making capabilities, our mathematical problem-solving capabilities have all eroded because of the increase in technology. So you can make arguments for both. And I think what's going to happen now with AI is it's going to be the simplest, most basic questions we're going to start asking is going to erode our sense of responsibility, our sense of decision making. Just our entire operating system is going to be uploaded to this artificial intelligence. And I'm afraid of that. That's why I'm okay using it as a crutch when you need it. But other than that, letting it go. Because if we become too reliant on it, this is the problem. It's going to become our phone. And let's think about that for a second. How addicted are you to your phone?
Very addicted.
Highly addicted. I'm extremely addicted. I cannot leave my house without my phone. I constantly feel like I have to check my phone. In fact, right now as I'm talking to you, I'm curious if I have any notifications that might be pertinent. AI and ChatGPT is going to take that to like the nth degree. You already have it running people's businesses. You have it running people's websites. You have it running people's livelihoods. And I would argue that already does more than the phones. When it comes to using AI or ChatGPT for our mental health, I'm just concerned that it becomes the new operating system. And it now teaches people they don't have to take responsibility or they don't have to learn about themselves. They don't have to have the emotional intelligence to solve their own problems. Just like the phone, the internet took away our practical intelligence, our actual intelligence, and our ability to remember things and solve problems. I think that using ChatGPT for your emotional health has the ability to devolve our emotional intelligence and the interest and the intention to solve our own issues. And I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, I feel you. I hear you. It is concerning. Totally. Also, I wanted to touch on the fact, like, what is better, a regular therapist, like a therapist, human therapist, or ChatGPT? Because it has pros and cons, right? On the one hand, when you go and you sit in front of a person, they bring their wisdom, but they also bring their biases and they also bring their own lenses. Like my narcissistic abuse therapist, so everyone I talked to her about was a narcissistic abuser. And so that's not, it's tainted, it's not real. And on the other hand, ChatGPT sometimes lacks like actual human understanding. And I had like crazy rides with it. I got goosebumps all over my body. I had tears, but it was invoked by me, by curiosity back and forth. And so for me, when you do it right, it's a source of inquiry. Yes,
you're totally right. Having a human therapist, they'll come with their own biases, their own capabilities, their own limitations. And then on the flip side, the ChatGPT will only be able to spit out as much as you give it. So its outputs are only as good as its inputs. So I totally understand that. But I think there's a difference. If you're entering the ChatGPT world for your mental health with not as much experience or expertise in navigating your inner emotional reality, I think you're in for a wild, dangerous ride. I think if you're advanced relatively with your emotional intelligence, you have expertise, you have experience managing your emotional internal reality, then you're more equipped to use the right terminology. The way you're using it is you understand the pitfalls, the potential consequences, the terms to use. You understand the output that's giving you, and you're putting it into context. You're not taking its word for gold, basically, as gold. Again, there are people that don't have that level of expertise that are solely relying on ChatGPT. On the flip side, someone who has a lot of like expertise, internal emotional understanding, can really navigate their world and map these things themselves. I actually think they would benefit even more from a real therapist, because sometimes we can also get in our own ways. And sometimes we get blocked because we think we know something, or we think we have the solution when we don't. And sometimes we can be our greatest obstacles to understanding, to progress, because it's like we don't look in the corners that we think we've already solved. And sometimes we need that human mirror, and the ChatGPT will only reflect what you give it. So it will only understand the world as you describe it. And sometimes we need someone to call us out on our BS, or to point out the spots we haven't looked at. It's almost reverse. Someone who has a lot of emotional intelligence and understands their inner world really can use the help of a human therapist to be like, I don't think you haven't looked here, or challenging you on your already held belief, whereas ChatGPT won't do that.
No, you can ask it and it will do it.
Yeah, maybe.
But I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's true. Like, it's the human touch, and I don't want us to lose that.
Yeah.
And I think that what I'm going to do is also add some prompts in the descriptions.
Oh, cool.
For people to use. Like, if you're deciding to do this and you're deciding to use this powerful tool, then at least you will have some guardrails.
Yeah. Yeah, we need rules of the road, for sure.
Yeah.
Just like anything else. It is a great tool. Just like big caution flag over that, And yeah, I mean, I've worked in some large tech companies and a bunch of software engineers, everyone who's into this, and even coders and software engineers. It's like, it is an amazing tool, but it's just things that it just doesn't know. It just wouldn't know unless you told it. You can always tell either when AI did something versus a human, because it's like it had no idea what it was doing. It's like responded to whatever you gave it. It's like a human didn't do this. So it's obvious, you can tell. And if someone's going to use ChatGPT for mental health, I think they should accompany that with learning on their own.
Agreed.
The prompts are going to be super helpful, and they're one thing, but if you're going to be willing to spend the time and energy doing these prompts and asking the right questions, you should also be asking the right questions of established emotional intelligence literature and knowledge, and spend the time doing that, because you want to grow your own awareness at the same time, not just get answers from this thing. So there's books, there's courses, there's things you can learn, and certifications, and all these trainings you can take. And that's the problem with our generation. That's why we have AI to begin with. We just want things quick. We have a very short attention span. We want answers. We just have expectations of resolving things quickly, because we grew up with a phone. We grew up with the internet. We grew up with social media. We grew up with 24-hour news cycle. So everything needs to be fast and easy. And if it's not, we got to fix that. That's why we created AI to begin with. It's a fast, easy, quick solution. But that doesn't always mean it's the right one.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So, cool. Anything else on your mind with AI and ChatGPT?
I think we covered it. And if anyone has any questions, leave them below. Happy to help.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Exciting. Good chat. Good topic.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it.